Hey guys, Dylan here, and in case you guys didn't know, this is the spin-off to Club Spin. It is not a replacement to Club Spin, it's just something I'm trying out, one-on-one interviews, because I thought it would be interesting. Today's guest is Chaomix, and I decided that he would be the perfect guest for my new thing that I'm going to be doing. Some of these interviews are going to be where I shout out a SonicTuber that I like. And I think Chaomix is a newer SonicTuber that people should really check out because he's doing different things than you would expect a typical Sonic YouTube channel to be doing.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out and the opportunity to be on here. I appreciate it.
So one thing I want to talk about first is I noticed that the artwork in your thumbnails is done by you. How difficult is it
Okay.
to do all of that artwork? Because it is pretty close to the Sonic Adventure 2 art style.
Yeah, to be honest, I've at first it took me a while to kind of get that style down. I feel like before I started my YouTube channel and started doing the illustrations for my thumbnails, I'd only really tried that style out like twice. Um, but I kind of managed to quickly get the hang of it. And I'd say nowadays it probably takes me, it kind of depends on like what I'm drawing. If it's like a full body shot, um, it takes maybe like 4 hours. But if it's something that's more zoomed in, it's like maybe just like like from the torso up, maybe like 2 hours. Like I can crank them out pretty quickly now. I've gotten it down to kind of a science. I've been kind of thinking of making a tutorial on how to do it. I keep getting people asking me like, "Oh, Chaomix, how do you draw in the Sonic Adventure style?" So maybe potential future video idea. But yeah, I pride myself on my thumbnail art. It's probably something not too many people would do, but like I make unique illustrations for like every single one of my videos pretty much on a weekly basis.
Oh yeah, that's what definitely what makes them stand out, especially like
Yeah.
humans in Sonic games, how it has like the old man on the thumbnail.
Yeah. The Burger Man. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite ones.
definitely wacky and unleashed in 2021 with the Dragon Ball art style
Yeah.
and the cream with a gun.
Yeah. If I can plug myself for just a second,
And
I
this whole
have
thing,
an
it's a giant plug.
yeah, I have an Etsy shop where I sell those thumbnail arts as like posters.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
yeah, you can just search me up on Etsy. It's just Chaomix. So yeah, if there's any like thumbnail art in particular that you like, you can order it on a 11 by 17 poster. Something that people have been asking me. So far, I think like the Sonic ice cream one is pretty popular. Uh, the one I drew of Sonic free falling with the gun helicopter piece, like the
Oh
skateboard,
yeah.
a pretty popular one. But yeah, if you're interested in that, you can check it out on Etsy.
So, what inspired you to do a Sonic channel? If I had to guess, I would say it seems like you were somewhat inspired by Mazako X, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, actually, I do enjoy Masako X. He's a pretty good YouTuber. I do love me some Dragon Ball, so I do watch his channel a lot.
Same
Um,
on that regard, even though I
yeah.
don't really talk about Dragon Ball.
Uh, Yeah, I know a lot of people who are closet Dragon Ball Z fans. It's kind of just one of those anime that like everyone knows about and like has probably watched at one point in their life. But yeah, he's probably one of my bigger inspirations. I don't know if you know this channel. He's not really like Sonic related, but Justin Wang.
Oh, I've heard of Justin Wang. I haven't watched his stuff, but I've heard of him. Let me look him up real quick.
Yeah, he's one of my bigger influences. If you like literally just go to like any of his videos, like the format that he uses, like I'm very inspired by it. Like you can obviously see the inspiration. He's got like the background lighting in the back. He records at night. Uh, he has like segments where he's on camera and then he shows B-roll.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
like that format is like very heavily inspired by that.
The thumbnails kind of remind, well, not really the thumbnails, but the general topic pieces also kind of remind me of Totally Not Mark. because he also does the artwork for his thumbnails, and he does Dragon Ball discussion pieces like these.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that channel. Yeah, that's another channel I binge watch all the time. But yeah,
I
actually, you know what? I think you might be right. I don't think I really thought of it, but I think he is kind of an inspiration. Just the fact that like he draws all of his thumbnails like that.
Yeah. I'm usually good at picking what inspired people to do certain things, and this channel seems like a
Yeah.
mixture of Mazako and totally not Mark. But it's
Yeah.
great because Sonic needed this. There's so many Sonic channels that are just the news or speculation
Mm,
on the news or something like that. To see a
right.
channel fully dedicated to Sonic discussions is great because there's just so much to talk about with the Sonic the Hedgehog fan base. And you're mostly just talking about the franchise, but still, there's so much to talk about there too.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's something I noticed kind of before getting in and making my first video is that like a lot of the videos were kind of just like speculation and like rumors and like news and potential announcements and like there's not too much substance in those kind of videos and also like those kind of videos get dated so quickly that like sure you can make it and maybe you'll get a bunch of views at the beginning because it's relevant but like who's going to watch like will Sonic be at South by Southwest 2021 like a year from now?
No
Literally no
one.
one.
It's
So, like
throwaway content.
exactly. Like I want my content to be as timeless as possible where like 5 years from now you can still watch it and be like, oh yeah, he's got a point and you can still enjoy it. It's still relevant.
And one thing I can appreciate about your channel, and this isn't shit talking the other guy, but when it comes to people like Cybershell, he tends to make his videos like 40 minutes to an hour long. I
Right.
appreciate that your videos are anywhere between 10 minutes to 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I do feel like there's like different approaches you can take with those kind of discussion videos. And like I'll be honest, like I do love me some like hour long, 2 hour long like analysis videos. Like I like no offense, but like I fall asleep to those like in a good way. Like I love watching those and keeping them on in the background and just like falling asleep. But then I'll like watch them later like the next day. But yeah, like I do like long videos like that. I'm a big fan of Cybershell. Another couple YouTubers are like Game Apologist and Jay's Reviews.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about Games
They're
Apologist. It is really similar.
yeah, those guys though kind of do more long spanned analysis videos that they're usually about like over 30 minutes. And like sometimes my videos will get that length, but I try to keep them like around the 10 to 15 minute mark.
Yeah.
Um, unless it's like something I'm like going super ham on. Like actually this video I'm working on now, I'm actually like outsourcing it to some of my friends to help edit it because it's so big. It's probably going to be over 30 minutes. But yeah, I usually try to keep them like within 10 minutes. I think it's like just
You're
bite-sized enough where like you can watch it and be satisfied and have most of your questions answered and then you can get like another video from me in a week.
your longest video is your Sonic R video. That
Yeah.
is 30 minutes exactly.
Yep.
And I assume that you were playing the PC version of Sonic R from what it looks
Yeah, I
like.
was.
Have you tried playing that with mods yet? Like, there's improvement mods.
Yeah, I do have that mod. I didn't have it on when I was recording just because I wanted to talk about the vanilla version
Oh, yeah.
and showcase that. But yeah, I've played the mods for it and they're pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
I
the
should
one
I
for
should.
Mania is really good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Sonic modding is pretty cool.
They
I
have,
don't
like, a
really.
mod that turns all of Sonic R into Sonic Mania levels. Every single level.
Ooh.
It's great. It was entered in the... I think it was the hacking contest last year. I can send you a link to that later.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that. That sounds awesome though. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I recorded the Sonic R video, I like literally beat the game 3 times in order to get enough footage because it's so short.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably its biggest flaw, is that you can beat it in like an hour
Well,
or
that's the
less.
thing, though. When you talk about these obscure games, like even though people don't want to admit it, Sonic Advance, you have to go out and get like really obscure games, and you have to play them through to talk about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, what direction do you plan on taking your channel in the future? Like, is there any big things you plan on doing?
Um, I kind of have this like soft rule with myself where like I don't want to talk about news,
Oh yeah,
but
I can
like
get that.
when the new game gets announced, like I might give my 2 cents on it, but like yeah, I won't be covering like, oh, are we gonna get a new trailer at this event, or like, oh, they just announced blah blah blah. I'll probably keep my channel discussion based, kind of like I'm doing now. My goal is almost always to upload weekly, but sometimes with like these longer videos, like they'll take 2 weeks, like my Sonic R video.
That's still a really good upload schedule. Like that
Yeah,
means that they get consistent videos regularly, and you have a lot up already. And the editing is
yeah,
pretty
let's
good in all
see.
of them too.
Yeah, I made my first video 6 months ago, so it's already been half a year, which is kind of crazy. My YouTube channel is actually from like 2008. It's just been like my personal channel for the longest time, since like literally the beginning of YouTube. Um, and I've like put videos on my channel, but they were just like dumb like inside joke type stuff with my friends, which I've just like unlisted since. And I've kind of just like dedicated my channel to actually like posting quality content.
I noticed that you did a guitar cover of one of the Sonic songs. Are you gonna do more of those? Any more musical covers, or was that just a one-off?
Yeah, I do want to do more of those every once in a while. The next one that I'm going to do is what is it called? Keys to Ruin, which is the Pyramid Cave song from Sonic Adventure 2. That's probably one of my favorite guitar riffs from the series. But yeah, like every once in a while, I think I'll do those kind of like guitar videos. They would be like supplementary to what I'm already putting out.
Do you plan on covering anything from the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons and comics, or are you just sticking to the games and game media right now?
I mostly stick to the games just because that's what I'm most knowledgeable in. I'm not super familiar with the comics. I did used to get them when I was a kid, but honestly, like it was mostly for the art. Like I really appreciate the cover art of the Archie comics.
Oh, by Spaz, the older stuff.
Yeah, oh man, he's got the best art. Oh, it's so good. Like the Sonic Mega collection had that gallery where you can
Oh
just view all of
yeah,
the art. I
that's
would
how
just spend
most of us got
hours.
introduced.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was like one of the best kind of advertisements for their comic.
They
Because
even
yeah, I
had
don't
the same thing in Japan. So people in Japan, that was probably
knew about the
people.
Archie comics.
Yeah, that was probably their first exposure to the
Yeah.
Archie comics.
Do they translate the comics into Japanese, do you think?
See, I actually don't know. I would doubt it because here in America, we didn't get any of the Japan Sonic stuff. The only
Yeah,
thing we got was the OVA, and that's because some company bought the rights to make a quick buck. It wasn't
right.
for any, like, Sega wanted it here reason. Sega had a different goal in the 90s. Their goal was to have Sonic specialized to each country. So I
Right.
don't think they ever intended us to have Japan stuff or Japan to have our stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird situation. I think Sonic is kind of not very popular in Japan actually. America is definitely his biggest market. Um,
Sonic was always treated differently in Japan. Like in
yeah.
America, we played up the bad kid with an attitude thing. But in Japan, they had so many different ways that they introduced Sonic. In the OVA, he lived in a post-apocalyptic world full of fucking animal people.
Yeah.
In Sonic X, it was just the games. In the Sonic manga, depending on which one you read, Sonic was a schoolboy who could transform into
Oh,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
right.
It was
Yeah, that's so
wacky.
weird. Yeah.
So I don't blame Japan for not knowing what the fuck Sonic is because they got so many different
They don't even
media.
know.
The
Yeah, that's so
Nikki
interesting.
the Nikki manga went on for almost a decade, if I'm not mistaken. So
Oh
that's probably
wow.
their most popular thing for Sonic, and it was
That's
featured in like
crazy.
kids' books. educational material. Like that's probably the biggest Sonic for the 90s in Japan.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was like maybe a one-off type manga. I had no
No,
idea it was that expansive.
it's everywhere. There's like educational books where it teaches you how to read and shit, and there's like three different versions of the Nikki Sonic canon.
Wow.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's insane.
So you just want to talk about the games? Is there any game you want to talk about going forward that you're really hyped to talk about?
Um, it kind of just depends. Like, I come up with my video ideas like usually the week that I make it. So it kind of just depends on like what I'm feeling. I'm a big fan of the adventure era. So like if I had to guess, like probably most of my videos are about that kind of era. But like I do like all the eras, like even the modern era. Um, the classic era I like, but I'm like really bad at playing them. I'll
Oh
fully
yeah.
admit.
People who
I'm
get
so
into
bad.
3D Sonic have a hard time adapting to 2D Sonic. It's the same way with my girlfriend. She just can't get used to 2D Sonic at all.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of the classic games, or is that kind of
I got
your
into
zone?
Sonic with Sonic 1 on the
Okay.
Genesis.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think my first Sonic game was actually Sonic 2 on the Game Gear, and then after that, I think it was Adventure.
When I was really young, I grew up playing Sonic 2 a lot, and I thought that was my favorite game. But then when I finally sat down and played Sonic 1 and had to learn the mechanics, because one thing that always annoyed me when I was a kid was going through Labyrinth Zone. It was so fucking
Yeah.
frustrating. But when I was a kid, I realized that there are cheats that you can use. Not really cheats, but there's ways that you can get through Labyrinth faster. And if you know how to play Labyrinth, it isn't that big of a pain, excluding the boss fight. It's fucking shit regardless. I can't
Yeah.
defend that.
I think there's like one shortcut where you can basically just skip over all of the water parts of the level.
Yeah, like that's why Sonic 1 became my favorite game though, because unlike Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, Sonic 1 was made more difficult. But if you figured out the secrets to it and
Uh,
played it enough, you could get good and then learn how to look better than everybody else when you're playing. And I liked
right.
that experience of it's a slow platformer, but if you get good at it, you can be fast and you can have more
Right.
fun. And I
So
feel
is
like,
Sonic 1 is your favorite of
yeah,
the classic? Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Sonic 1. Marble Zone, is that what it's
yeah,
called?
that's my favorite zone. It's all
I
over
like
my
that one. Yeah,
channel
I
art.
actually like that zone. I know a lot
Well,
of people shit on it because it's like kind of slower paced, but
people
like I
don't
don't know.
understand the design philosophy of Sonic 1. When it came to Sonic 1, Sega intended you, Sonic Team intended you to speed through Green Hill and then need a break. And the second level is always supposed to be your break level. You go
Right.
really fast one level, then a break. Then you go really fast again, then another break. They do it consistently throughout Sonic 1. And I think that not only gives you time to relax and still keep your eye on the game and not just hold right to win, it
Hmm.
it helps you stay good at platforming. Because I feel like a lot of other Sonic games really goes fully into the automation. They have boost pads everywhere, they have speed ups everywhere, invincibilities everywhere, and I feel like it became less of a are you a skilled platformer and are you just willing to go fast?
Yeah. I do think that like for some of the automation, like at least in the adventure games, like you got some of the loop de loops that are just automated. I think those are also they kind of also fall into that category of like giving the player like a slight second of break to just like
I can get it
reorient
there
themselves.
though. I can
Yeah.
get it there because if you had to run through the loop yourself in that game, you'd probably get stuck. The game
Yeah,
isn't the
there's
best.
yeah, honestly, there's like a bunch of fan games out there that try to do non-automated loops and like they're always like really weird like cuz the camera like just like
It's really
completely spins
pointless.
around. Yeah.
The loop is just there as a spectacle. Just
Yeah.
let it play itself there. It
Yeah,
doesn't really
exactly.
matter if you run through the loop yourself or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, from the classic trilogy, I'd say that 2 is probably my favorite. I know that a lot of people say that 3 is probably the best and maybe like the best in the entire series. But like there's just something about it that like I don't know, maybe I have like a short attention span or something, but like if I'm trying to play through the entirety of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like it's just too much for me. I think
See,
Sonic 2 is like just that perfect length. You can beat it in like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Super replayable.
I'm old enough to where back when I was a kid, we didn't call Sonic 3 and Knuckles Sonic 3 and Knuckles. We just called it Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. And they're two separate games. And I know a lot of people want to put it together and play it as one big game, but I
Yeah,
really do feel like the best way to play it is separate and then
separately.
together. Like, put it
Yeah,
together after you beat Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles and you won a challenge. Then you get Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But I feel like nowadays people go straight into Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And if you're playing Angel Island Revisited, yeah, do that. It's fine. You can save pretty easily in that, and it
mm,
really takes away a lot of the hassles of the original game. So if you're
yeah,
playing it via cartridge or emulation, I'd say play Sonic 3 first, then Sonic and Knuckles, then Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because that's the way Sega and Sonic Team intended it after
right.
they decided to split it into two separate games. Because it's just
Yeah,
too long. It's longer than Mania.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's got so many levels. Yeah, I think next time I play it, I'll do the Angel Island Revisited, definitely.
Oh, that's the preferred way of playing it. You can
Yeah,
add so many little custom mods that make the game just 10 times more enjoyable to play. I have to add in the mod where you play as Sonic 1 and 2 classic Sonic rather than Sonic 3 Sonic. I
oh yeah,
hate the
that's cool.
sprites.
Yeah, the sprite is so different in Sonic 3. At least in 1 and 2 it's somewhat similar. It's just kind of like a different color palette a little bit. Like I think the shading is a little different too, but like it's pretty much the same
They changed
thing.
like his shoe and eyebrow. It's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, it's super minor. Like you barely can tell.
With
Yeah.
Sonic 3, they wanted it to look more like Donkey Kong Country, and that was like the big thing they were going for, is making it look 3D rendered. Because that
Yeah,
was the thing to do.
I think so. And also like the environments too are so much more realistic in Sonic 3.
I think it kind of ruins it, and that is like I feel like that's the first game that really doesn't feel like it's Naito Oshima's world anymore. Because I feel like
Yeah.
even though Sonic 2 wasn't made by Oshima, it still kept a lot of the design philosophies of
Right.
Oshima's art style.
Yeah, that the entire art direction of the environments in Sonic 2 is probably my favorite.
I
Probably one of
really
the
like CD. CD is so bright
Yeah,
and
that's a
colorful.
that's a really good one too. Pretty much like Sonic 1, CD and 2 all have that kind of similar Naoto Oshima kind of direction going for it, but then Sonic 3 just throws it out the window and goes for more realistic. I think they were trying to make it like the next big game with the best graphics type thing. Uh, which is something that I think they did to maybe appeal to American audiences.
I think it was really just to show off the power of the CD, Sega CD. They really just wanted to push just how much you could do with that peripheral.
Oh, I'm talking about Sonic 3.
Oh,
They
oh, Sonic
they went more
3.
yeah, they went like more realistic and like
That was
gritty.
definitely for Americans because
Yeah,
America
yeah.
loved Donkey Kong Country. I don't think Japan did as much. It was America and the UK
Yeah.
that loved Donkey Kong
Yeah,
Country.
I don't think Donkey Kong's really popular in Japan. At least when you compare his popularity in America. So, yeah, and like yeah, something about like if you just look at like even games nowadays, like a lot of Japanese developed games go for more like an anime or stylized art style, where like a lot of Western games try to go for realism, photorealism. And like that's been a philosophy that's been around even back during the Genesis days with Sonic. And Sonic 3 was developed in the US, and I think there were a lot of US hands on it, so that would probably explain why it's so kind of gritty looking.
Yeah, they were really trying to push 3D in that game. They wanted
Yeah.
Sonic to be fully 3D at one point in its development, but they had to scale it back because it was just
Right.
too ambitious. and they kept trying to put Sonic in 3D, and that was like the big end goal for the 90s for Sega is like, can we get Sonic into 3D? And the final year, 1999, they finally get Sonic into 3D, or 1998, I think, for Japan,
In
but
Japan,
still,
I think. Yeah.
like right at the end, they finally get Sonic in 3D, and then they kind of mess it up later. One thing I
Yeah.
appreciate about your channel is that you only have one video talking about Sonic Forces. I know a lot of discussion channels can't help themselves but just talk about forces. Like Ellis Mark started a discussion channel, and he brings up Sonic Forces all the fucking time in his. I think it's called Splash Dash.
Yeah.
Just so much Sonic Forces. I'm like, I get it. Sonic Forces sucks. I think we all know it does. It's not good. We get it.
Mm.
I'm glad that you can lay off of that game and just talk about other shit, because there's so much to talk about. Sonic Forces is just a little pebble. Sonic Lost World is just a little pebble in all of Sonic. There's so many good games to talk about. And I noticed you haven't even
Yeah.
talked about like Sonic 4 or like the other versions of Unleashed. Like there's still so many modern Sonic games to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And even like with my Sonic 4 video or my Sonic Forces video, I tried to not just talk about the entire thing. I tried to like narrow it down and focus in on like one specific point that I haven't really seen anyone make a video about, and that was like specifically the villain characters and how they're just like so useless.
Oh yeah. That is a really good point. I'm really glad with your channel though. I like the direction it's going. I think it's really unique compared to other Sonic channels. And for anybody else who hasn't heard of Chaomix, you need to check him out. He only has 4,000 subs right now, and that should definitely change because these are really good videos.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Is there
I
anything
try.
else you want to talk about before we hop off?
Um, I think that might be it, unless you think of something last second.
No, I think I've talked about everything I wanted to. I got all the background stuff I wanted talked
Yeah,
about.
okay. Yeah, I think that's it for me then.
Okay, so Chow Mix's stuff will be in the description down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you guys will check out more. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for being on here.
Peace out.
Bye.